Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2020. We're ready for another session fully with Amazulu today. This time I'm prepared for the fact that the table has suffered a massive shake-up from previous years, so I'm not going to be completely shocked in my match against Wits the way I was against Chippa, and I'm going to try to actually name a decently strong team. Given a couple issues such as Lacala being suspended, there's a decent chance we're still going to lose to Wits. Potentially worse than we lost to Chippa, where we held out until the last minute and then suffered a goal just about in stoppage, but we were outplayed that entire match. I'm hoping to at least play a little more competitively against Wits. And then we've got Real Kings later on. Well, some things stay the same, so they are still pretty bad. They're 14th. We should be able to comfortably beat them. They've been steadily getting better, but... So the real test of this recording is, can we get past Wits without taking too much damage? We're only slated for a mid-team table result this year. So even with like the rough loss to Chippa there, the board is still pretty happy with me, which is good. It's making this rebuild a lot less stressful than I thought it would be. I'm getting the wage budget under control, or the expenses under control. We're down to just $3,500 in the hole, whereas at the start of the season we were $8 million in the red. So I've got to consider this episode or this season a success, even though it's nowhere near the quality of results on the field I've been getting previous years. But that's what keeps the match or the game interesting. You dominate for a while, and then something shifts massively, and you're stuck rebuilding your team. It's really annoying that we're losing Lacala for the Wits match, because that's the match I need him for. He's not great on the field, but he's the best player we have for a couple of the positions he plays. So not being able to name him is going to really hurt our defense. So we're going to have to go out and try to just outshoot Wits, which, based on their position on the table, is not going to be easy. We didn't play fantastic in that Chippa match. Like, we were we dominated possession, but we were horribly outshot. We just couldn't break into it. But I mean, I hadn't brought my strongest wingers because I figured it's Chippa. They're always down like 15. Who cares? I'll just bring some guys that need some match time. The under 20s for Canada are still chugging along nicely despite their huge amount of injuries. I mean, it's 3 people, but that's a lot for a national team camp, because those are only guys named to the team currently that roll out. Black Leopards have the potential to be scary. They're in 5th with 2 less matches played than a lot of the teams above them, and at least 1 less than everyone above them. So they can really shoot up the table in the next few weeks. And Pirates are finally starting to get something together, getting out of the relegation spots. That would be shocking if they went from competing for first place to relegated. So the table is starting to stabilize a little bit, but we're far enough in that positions are starting to become more significant. Like, I'm hoping to finish about 5th or 4th, but 8th isn't unreasonable. Losing Shobeni is a big hit. This is not a match where I can afford to take any injuries. I don't really like Shobeni's not a super important player, but he's nice to have on the bench. It's only 6 to 8 days that he's out for, But those 6 to 8 days have probably our most important match of this half of the season. So losing him there is really rough. And this is why I'm annoyed that Lacala got himself suspended. Like, he's not one of our best players, but he's been putting in phenomenal performances. Although I've just insulted him by telling him how good he is. Playing, he got mad. Fortunately I can cheer him up by telling him he's doing good in practice. So it was a neutral criticism. That always bugs me when a guy's on a run of career form but they're not great in the position, so you tell them that they're doing good and they get offended because they're not like world beaters in a position they're not comfortable playing. Getting a draw against Aruba is rough for our under-20s with Canada. It's not something I have any control over, so not really significant, but concerning given that I'm going to have to be calling those guys up to the senior team in a couple of years. It's probably the injury issue. He's Portuguese, so perhaps trying for him isn't the best option, but I'm realizing how sparse this October actually is, that we're almost through to the next international break and coached one match. It's good for resting the team, but we're losing familiarity because we're not getting to play. We've got 2 matches this week and 3 next week, so that'll get them back into playing form. Or injure a whole bunch more people, which would suck. But we don't have the kindest schedule this year. Hopefully the Mofo King scouting works out. He's actually South African, which is nice. Same as this guy and Jacobs here. We're actually getting some South African names now to scout, which is really nice to see because we're limited on the number of foreigners we're allowed to have on the team, so I definitely want to get more South Africans coming in. We're finally finding some good ones. Senamela is back well enough to play in the upcoming game, which is a massive bonus for us. We're able to get our defense shored up. Our attack is still looking sketchy as hell going into this Wits game. But given that they're the top team in the league, if we can force a 0-0 draw, I'll be pretty happy with that. We almost pulled it off with Chippa. I mean, we still have some rough spots. Mirosavic is not at a level I'd like him to be. Senamela is pretty bad playing at fullback, but he's there, and Lacala isn't, so at least someone's in the spot. And Saketlong still weak on the wing. So we're definitely going to want to try to keep the ball on the right-hand side of the field. We've got some really good players still. Kwakwana is looking excellent. Tunkara is looking excellent. Fountain's looking excellent. Nidlavu's fallen off a little bit, but he's still fantastic. It's probably just that he's been under so much pressure with us having these stitched together back lines ever since we started taking injuries back there. were actually believed to be the better team than Wits, despite them being in first place. So that's nice to see. But they said the same thing about Chippa. I think the press are kind of in the same spot I was, where they're just assuming that things are going to play out like they did the previous year. Okay, that's a misleading headline. He's not actually criticizing me about my strategy. He's saying he thinks he can defend against it. I thought he was being a dick, but that's reasonable. I still think the short passes are better. We don't have the quality of passing to be able to just launch up direct passes up the field. They'll go to the Wits players, and we'll get blown out if we try that. It's better to play the cautious possession game. Reef Hampton is a free kick player. Yeah, that makes sense. We're down to just McQuack now. If he's not on the field, it's nice to have someone. Where are you, Fountain? Here he is. He's not phenomenal at it, but it's a second person who can do it. Buck up our attack. The 3 to 4. How are we? 1, 2 attackers. Where can I get a third? Get long. Yeah. How's Tunkara going up to attack? Not as good. Unfortunately, the attacking is kind of focused on our weaker side of the pitch. We'd rather have the other side attacking, but Tunkara is just better at supporting attack than doing it himself. And I mean, I've seen arguments for both ways. I've seen lots of people say you want to set up the best formation and just slot your players into it. And then I've also found people saying that you want to have people playing where they're the most comfortable, or in the ability way they're most comfortable, and that'll get better results than forcing square pegs into round holes. I've found the latter to be true, that when I try to force them to play a specific formation, I lose a lot more than when I tailor my strategy a bit to what they're good at. I don't love that with some of the early matches that happened, we've fallen all the way down to 10th. But then you look like Highland Park and Tux that have passed us have both played 2 more matches than us. So even a draw pulls us back into a reasonable position on the table. It's just the weird South African schedule that's knocking us down the table right now. We're not as bad as we look. Lourenço. Portugal wants him. I don't think I've actually given him a cap. He's pretty solid at a position I don't really play. I'm still going to try to talk him over, but I'm not going to feel devastated if Portugal win him. I had a lot of points I could make to try to win him over. And he looks good enough that I might try to get him into the squad. It's tough right now because I've got Alphonso Davis fighting with him for that spot. But I'm not going to have Davis for that much longer, so I do need to be ready for the future. And trying to keep him is probably a good idea. We're not awful with injuries, at least. Everyone's coming back. Chobeni's capable of playing despite his injury. Senamela is capable. Sefema is not quite fully fit, but can play the whole match. Sanago is capable of playing the full match. So we're doing pretty good. The big issue is Sanago's match sharpness, but that's just what you get with a long injury. Gusty conditions, that probably benefits us. Okay pitch, we're at home. Decent weather conditions overall. I mean, it's probably as good as we're going to get. I don't think I want to go to an attacking position. And we can get Mattia back in the side instead of Mirosavic. That definitely shores things up. I mean, Mattia is also not as good as I would like. But we've been running Mirosavic hard. So having someone coming in that's fitter is probably a good thing. We still have the two big problems with Senamela and Saketlong. Both on the same side. I really don't like that, but there's nothing I can do to fix it, so we're going to take it. And it's nice to see Tao and McQuaquin developing a good relationship on the field. So we're slowly shaping these guys into something functional now that we've gotten through that rush of early injuries. I have a bit of fitness concerns about Safema and Senamela. I don't know why they're so tired, but it shouldn't be so bad that they get exhausted in this match. They're just going to be prime candidates for taking off. And like I said, I'm perfectly happy to get a 0-0 draw here. We're playing the best team in the league right now. We're not great this year. If we can just not lose, I'm pretty happy. Get a point, move us back into 6th. Obviously, we want the full 3 points, but having to play Saketlong as my attacking winger, I just don't have the pieces to make a complete team that's really ready to win the league this year. Our finances were brutal in the off season. And realistically, in January, I still want to move some people out of here. We're making more money than I thought we were going to this year, but I need to get us back in the green. Even with that stupid stadium that I didn't really want. I just wanted them to put in a new surface on the pitch. And the old board had agreed to do that, and then the new board comes along and is like, new stadium. I think the new stadium only adds like 500 seats too, so it's not going to make a huge difference to our finances to get it finished. And here we can see how much better Wits are than us. Like, they're just playing circles around us. Fury got a yellow card for them, so that's good. And we're going to close down Zwane early. Those clusters in the box always make me super nervous, where I can't really see what the ball's doing, and it's just bouncing around amongst like 6 guys. Tunkara got a yellow on our side. That's not ideal. Get him off tackles early. This ref seems free with the cards. Got a corner. I mean, that's how we're going to win this game if we do, is just make it ugly, keep them from getting many shots, and then force something in off of a set piece or so. We're probably not breaking through on open play. Their coach was right about that. They should be able to defend our attacking style. But I'm not willing to open us up by going more direct. Because we might have a hard time, as we go more direct, but we might have a hard time winning with the style we play. But it makes it harder for us to lose, too. And that's the big thing. I'm now in charge of a mid-table club, and I need to manage as such. I don't think that was meant to go to Nedlovo. I think that was just a bad pass. Adam's been playing on the left so much he's no longer looking that comfortable in his own natural position. Because it's been about 2 years that I've been playing him on the left wing primarily. There's what we needed. McQuaquina gets his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Tunkara. So we're actually 1 up on Wits, which is a lot more comfortable position. There's still a good chance that we draw this match as a 1-1, but it's largely eliminated our chances of losing. I think there's 1 goal in this match for them. I doubt there's 2. Unless our defensive line just completely falls apart. I mean, it's always possible someone gets injured. And if we take any more injuries to the back line, we are screwed. We've got no depth there. Oh, Tunkara scored his 6th of the season, assisted by McQuaquina. So now we're really in a good position. 2 goals up, almost halfway through the first half. I don't think there's any chance they beat us now. Even if we take an injury or something. Because they're trying to go more direct against me, too. They're not liking the position they're in. They're trying to force something through. Which is fair. They're still the better team on the pitch. It's got to hurt to be down 2 against a team that's not playing nearly as well as you. They haven't pegged on to the weakness on my right side. And so we're getting a lot of balls up there that we shouldn't be. Like anything on the right, unless it's with Fountain, they should just get that away from me. They are so much better on that side than we are. That's why I want it to be played up the left with Tunkara, but they're moving all their coverage over there because they know how dangerous he is. So we've gone into the half with a lead, and a comfortable one. This time I am truly happy with their performance. If we can get 1 goal in the second half, I will be ecstatic. I mean, 3x against the best team in the league is pretty impressive, assuming X isn't like 5 or 6. But honestly, given the strikers we have out there and the wing players we have out there, Most of them are good, but we do have a right winger. So the fact that we're able to score 2 or 3 goals against the best team in the league is cause for celebration. Even if they like rally like crazy this half. Because I have seen in the past teams just there's one for them scored by Benjamin, assisted by Fury, his 4th of the season. So now it's a little tenser. And I have seen teams just give up and stop playing when they go up early in the game against opposition they're not supposed to beat. They get cocky. I still feel pretty good. We've pulled it into a lot more even match. We're catching up on shots. We're slightly ahead on possession. We're definitely we had a rough game against Chippa, and we're playing a lot better now. Because I did make a lot of mistakes setting up for Chippa, but the team also did not play well. Our best performance was a 7. The team on their own more or less have gotten annoyed by the Wits coach and have just decided to go more direct. And it's actually paying off, so I'm not reining them in on it. Let's see, Tao's not playing great. Adam's actively playing badly. I think it's got to be Adam, even though he's one of our fresher players. We'll take him off from Inkubi. The guy I said would never actually make the first team. We actually need him today. He may be promising, but he's still not very good. He's only a 2-star player, which more weakness in their defensive line, which I don't like. But with the way Adam is playing, we just need to have a different person out there. We've pulled equal on shots, and we're well ahead on possession now. And they got another yellow card, but this is a very dangerous free kick. Right into the wall. Perfect. Swanee might have got himself in trouble there. They're subbing him off immediately. Yeah, he got a yellow card and they don't want to deal with that shit, so they're subbing him off immediately. And I completely missed making a change. Now we'll get Tao off for Mothi Bantwa. And then everyone else is doing pretty good. Siketlong's doing the worst, and he's one of many that are tired. So we'll bring on Matenjwa for him. The second half is flying by so fast I hadn't been watching the clock. Here are our subs, so let's see. Matapantwa is better as an attacking midfielder. Get some more attacking power on there. And then Matenjwa, take the attacking power off the wing. But Mothi Bantwa's weak, but Matenjwa's actually better than Siketlong. We've just been playing Siketlong because he's actually capable of attacking, whereas Matenjwa is a lot more decent or moderate. 2 more yellow cards for them. They're getting frustrated and they're racking up the fouls now. Or this ref is bad, but I'm leaning towards them getting frustrated given what the score is showing. And the fact that they absolutely should have beat us in this game. Like, just on paper. I knew the caliber of players we had and figured I could at least draw this game. But if you're playing the 10th place team as the first place team, you should be beating them. So that was a very good win for them. Oh, and the ref was doing a good job. So, yeah, that's just Wits getting frustrated. That was Nidlovo's 150th career appearance. Adams' 25th appearance for us. I think he's only played his actual position about 5 of those times. Tau's 75th appearance for us. Ketlong's 25th appearance for us. Mothi Bantois' 75th appearance overall. And that's it. The rest of these are Wits highlights. I'm very happy with that. Nice 1-goal win that we really needed. Like, I didn't expect it, so I wasn't talking up how we needed to beat Wits, but we badly needed to win there. The fact that we had fallen all the way down to 10th. Now we're back up in 7th with a game in hand against a lot of the teams above us, although Black Leopards are still sitting in 5th with 6 games played. And we've got Real Kings next, who are currently the worst team in the entire league. So that should be a very winnable one, assuming the guys don't get super complacent. Tunkar got player of the match. That makes sense. He was easily the best player on the pitch in that game. I'm just a little disappointed it was him because he's already at perfect morale, so complimenting him can't help him any. I would have rathered it was one of my guys that wasn't quite as happy. So that was massive. That win really, really helped their positioning. We're now sitting right where we expected to be for the season. We knew Adam played shitty in that game. Let's see who we get in the Knockout Cup. Palaquine City, assuming we can get past Black Leopards. That is the ask. I'd say right now Black Leopards are probably the actual best team in the league because they're sitting pretty high up with games in hand. So most likely, they're going to be a tough ask to get past. But they might not bring a good team if they're focusing on the league. We'll bring near our best. We had to give Tunkar a raise, which is not ideal given our financial situations. If we can get past Black Leopards, Palaquine City are a lot easier. They're 15th in the Premier League this year. They're another one of the perennial bad teams that's staying bad. So, yeah, if we can get past Black Leopards, we're happy. But we've got so much crap before that Black Leopards game. Black Leopards are really good that I'm a little worried about it. Fortunately, it's in a competition that the board does not care about. And Sinago's back. We were already using him, but now he's officially back. And we've got Lacala back in. We're considering actually starting Sammy Seaby. This would be the game for it. The schedule is pretty tough. He's one of those guys. CB's one of those guys you get in a Football Manager who you start really liking and keep around far longer than you probably should. Our squad has left him behind as I've improved the rest of the squad, but he was so instrumental in my early years, and he's been so loyal to the club that I don't really want to lose him. I probably will at some point. I mean, things are looking dicey at the back right now with what we've got. Mirosavic's below average. Sinago's below average. Lacala is still terrible. better terrible than playing Adam over there. CB is terrible now. He hasn't gotten worse. The rest of the team's just gotten better, and those are relative ratings. But at least he's paired with Fountain. And, I mean, we're going up against real kings. This is an easy win for us, hopefully. So, hopefully we can just go in, get another 3 points, and it doesn't matter who I've got on defense. People will be a little bit more rested for the next match. Yeah, we will move to attacking. That'll hide some of our problems with our defensive line a little bit. 1 to 2 defenders. Who do we have on defense right now? We have 3. Lacala can support just as easily, though. Actually, he's behind Matenjwa, which is better. It has to be him. I was hoping maybe it could be Adam that I moved to support because Tunkara is so good higher up. That's a reasonable read on us. We had to sell a lot of our best players to keep our finances under control. We are a mid-table team this year, and the board expects that from us. Yeah, I think this is our best. Because he's not wrong. We're doing exactly what I expected to be doing with the team I was handed, and exactly what the board was expecting given our financial situation. They decided they wanted to build a stadium, and results on the pitch were going to be secondary for a bit. We were really able to cheer up McQuaquina there. Looks like we lost out on Calistro. I'm pretty okay with that. He was Portuguese. I'm not super hot on anyone not South African just because of the registration limits. We have to try for them because I need to bring in good players. And speaking of disappointments that are Portuguese adjacent, I lost out Lourenço to them, which is fine. Like I said, I didn't think I was actually going to ever get to play him much. David's basically back from his hamstring strain just in time for me to pick him again. And Minkubi got hurt. He's not a real threat for first team football at the moment, so that's not devastating, but given the clump of games, and you can see he occasionally breaks in off the bench, so it's still frustrating to lose him. Especially given that he was the player of the match in this under-19s match here. But as for people who you can have, Shobeni's fit to go the whole game, Fema's fit for the whole game. Sinago's recommended to be limited to 75 minutes of action, which is unfortunate because that's a tough place, not a tough position for me to rotate at the moment, and I don't really want to use my 60-minute or 70-minute substitution on him if he's playing well, but I'll keep that in mind. Perfect football conditions other than the only okay pitch. At least we haven't really been making it worse. It's been pretty steady on okay all season. It's just suffering from the battering we gave it a couple of years ago. I think I agree with this, that because of Sinago's injury concerns, we're going to put Mattia in for him, then I don't have to worry about that position. Safema is ready to come back and replace CB. And they want Saketlong over Matenjwa. Not sure why they want that one. We still have pretty major fitness concerns around Safema too. I think we need to push it because CV wasn't of caliber. Mirosevic not great. Mattia's not great. Lacala is bad. And Saketlong is bad, but I don't know if they just think that Matenjwa I think they want the freedom to switch it up to an attacking. You know what? I like Matenjwa. I think he's the better player. I'm going to listen and put Saketlong in here because we're playing real kings. And I'm going to want Matenjwa when we're against a strong team. So I think that's a solid reason to play Saketlong. Yeah, he's at 92% fitness. He'll get worn down some more this game. We'll bring in Matenjwa later. I'd rather have him be tired than Matenjwa. I don't need my best strikers against real kings. Or my best wingers. Also, we are going attacking this match, and Saketlong is more comfortable switching to an attacking role. I really hope that decision doesn't come back to bite me. But it looks like we're getting lots of shots. We're just getting them outside of highlights. Because every time we come into a highlight, it's a goal kick from Lerner. So we're getting good shots on target, it looks like. I'm not sure why Saketlong's heading all the way across the pitch instead of running up the wing he's actually supposed to be playing on. Worked though. Tao got his second goal of the season assisted by Fountain. So whatever the hell Saketlong was up to, it worked out for us. Can't be mad. He pulled a ton of people over to that side. But Tao was still shooting through a crowd. I don't know why they passed back to the inside there instead of going out to. Looks like Saketlan's thinking about trying the same thing. Yep, there he goes, right up the middle. Dumped off to Tunkara a little earlier this time and got back and almost scored. They seem to have come up with a unique little tactic there, but it's working out for them, so I kind of like it. I don't think it'll keep working for long. Teams will figure it out, but it's a fun little move right now. Still, I wish we'd have the ball on the right-hand side less, given that that's really our weak side. We've been getting success, but the fact is that's still two of our three worst players on the pitch. And that was just a huge defensive breakdown there. They almost scored just on a terrible run. But everyone was standing around with their thumbs up their asses instead of defending it. Does look like we're having a bit of an off game today, but fortunately we're playing a very bad team, so we're not getting punished for not playing well. That's kind of okay. I wasn't expecting a spectacular game. We just played like 3 days ago. We've had a ton of rest. Everyone got used to not working that hard, and now we're getting a crazy busy section of the schedule, so people's fitness is not going to be adapted to it. I think that's one of the reasons I've been enjoying managing in South Africa. That McQuaquina scored again unassisted off the free kick. But the unpredictability of the schedule, they're not like something like the British Premier League where there's 2 match days and basically everyone plays on both of them in a week, or like you're gonna have you don't necessarily know which day, but you're gonna have a match on the weekend. Mattia got a yellow card, and then maybe one midweek if there's not a cup tournament that week or cup that week. So it's a pretty consistent schedule. You know what you're going to get. Everyone's about the same busyness unless they're in Europe. But with South Africa, it's all over the place, and that makes it much more interesting because you have these like challenging managing situations where you play 2 games in a month and then you get 5 in 4 days or 5 in 2 weeks. At this point, Real Kings are just parking the bus. We're just sitting here and target shooting on the box. I'd like the guys to get through and score a couple more just to like really get their confidence up, because that's going to help them carry them through this rough section. But a 2-0 win where no one works that hard is okay too. 2-1 is less good. Letulu Skellam scored his first goal of the season, assisted by Maluka. And that's what I was kind of worried about. They get lazy. I mean, I like if they're not working that hard, but think a lot of the issue there is just that Lacala isn't very good at his position, so he got pulled to the inside and forgot to cover the man that was out there. And here they go, another attempted. Looks like Sitol was offside for that one. Yeah, he was. In Lacala learned from his earlier mistake. He didn't let himself get pulled to the middle nearly as much. You could see he wanted to go, and then he caught himself and stayed out wide because he realized what happened last time. I am looking forward to getting to the halftime team talk, though. This is not an inspiring performance. George got a yellow card. Sketlan got a very nicely positioned free kick. They couldn't make anything happen with, but they're not really performing at the caliber I would hope. Hopefully this boosts them a little bit. Like, I don't want to yell at them, because it's a tough schedule and they are winning. But I need to see a little more effort. So hopefully being nice to them was the right choice. Looks like Marquetta may have fouled Safema there. I don't know. We ended the highlight on it, so I don't know who actually fouled who, but they've shifted to trying to break into the box, and it's not working out well for them because Real Kings are parking the bus so badly. Tunkara got a yellow. That's not a guy I want to see getting yellows, even though he's not playing well today. He's probably getting subbed off in 5 minutes. Although that was a real sloppy pass from Fountain. He's better than that. We got it back and got a good shot on goal, but Fountain is better than that. He shouldn't be juicing them that far ahead of the player. See, Tunkara is actually not. He's going to avoid being sub just because he's so much fresher than Safema, who's playing equally poorly. So I'm going to take Safema off for Ward and probably sub Tunkara in 10 minutes. Ward is really, really bad, though, so this is not ideal. It's one of the many cases where we're getting burnt by our lack of depth at positions because we can't afford to have people sitting on the bench that play all the positions. And so I'm hoping that Ward's fresh legs does enough. He's not a guy I ever really want on the pitch. There we go. I feel a lot better now at McQuack when I got another goal assisted by Tao. That at least puts us ahead by 2, so if we get burned by inexperienced players being on the pitch, or just people being played out of position, It's not devastating. I really don't want to get a 3-2 result against Real Kings, but it's still better to win that way than to not win at all. They're trying to make something happen now. But they're bad at it, so like there they just completely missed Satol. And by the time they got back to cross it into him again, we had managed to build up a defense. Tunkara's continued to be disappointing, so he's getting the hook now for Mitengua. I can't really play on that side, but I believe I can switch Satol over and he'll be alright there, and then I can put Mitengua in for him. Sketlong's trying to get a goal before he gets switched to the other wing. Yeah, there we go. Mitengua's good in that position, and Sketlong is equally disappointing on this wing. So we haven't made things worse. This I'd argue actually did slightly. Well, it did make things worse because Tunkara is so good. But we're at least okay, and we've got our bad players spread out better, so it feels slightly better actually. Alright, last sub. I have no one I can put in for Sketlong. He's easily the worst player on the field. I think it's Shobeni. We get Shobeni on. And then I'm going to, because he's very bad there, I'm going to pull him into the middle here more. And kind of compress that side of the formation. Where he's still only a 2-star, but he at least can play that position well, and it we don't need more goals. This is basically just a fitness sub. Because there might come a time when I actually need to start Shobeni in a position. And so I don't want him to have just sat on the bench for the last 3 months. I want him to get some game time. A lot of the team's looking pretty tired right now, which is not ideal because we have another game in 2 days. And I don't have a huge amount of depth. So a lot of these guys are going to have to play tired. We definitely let off the gas compared to the first half, but a 2-goal winning margin for a mid-table team is always a pretty good thing, so I'm going to be happy with that. I mean, assuming that Real Kings don't manage to score in the next 2.5 minutes. I'll be less happy by a 1-goal winning margin. That was probably the last action of the game. They technically have a corner, but we're at time. I'll be a little surprised if they even get to take this, but apparently they are. And that's the end of the game. That went about as well as I had hoped. We got more yellow cards than I would have wanted. The referee had a great game, though, so we deserved those yellow cards. No milestones involving us. Thing I don't like is Mathia being at 62% stamina, but I probably won't play him next game. Fountain at 65 probably won't get played next game. Everyone else looks like they'll probably bounce back. Might have a bit of trouble with Makwakwana and Tau, because I do have to really worry about that. We've pulled ourselves to higher on the table than we probably deserve to be at the moment, because we're all the way up into fourth. 2 teams ahead of us have less games played than us, but most of the teams behind us have the same amount of games. I think we probably, our target for the end of the season should be 6th. I think that's the most realistic expectation of where we should end the season. Still, it's nice to get higher than that and have positions to give than to be sitting down in 10th or 12th trying to pull ourselves up at the end of the season. Makwakwana was our player of the match. With how well Dlamini's been doing on his loan, I might actually end up recalling him. It's annoying he got it 2 matches in a row, given that he's at perfect morale. So all these compliments do nothing for him. Who are you scouting? Tau. Keep your hands off Tau. He's one of the... It's funny, I was trying to dump Tau in the offseason. Now I'm like, don't touch him. He's one of the key playmakers on my side. But anyway, those were more successful matches than I expected us to have. I was thinking we were going to struggle a lot more with Wits than we did. So that was pretty good. When we pick things up next, we've got the match with Baroka, which, I mean, should be pretty... It's going to be tough. Normally they're bad, but they're currently 3rd in the league, so they're a good team, and we're coming in tired. When was their last match, actually? Does it say? Results. Play Cape Town last. No, that just gets me Cape Town. It's October 27th. That's the wrong one. So it must be this draw with Stellenbosch. No, that's September. Oh. Yeah, okay, it is this one. Yeah, they're going to be much fresher than we are. So that is going to be a difficult match. The good news is it's another televised match, so that'll get us more money. And then we have Sundowns, who are traditionally a club I need to be scared of. But this year they're down in 8th, so we should be able to beat them. But it's on the 4th, which is the big issue. So it's another 2-day gap. So that session is going to be an interesting one, because we have a difficult match and an even match with brutal schedules, and we're coming in against teams that are fresher, like Super Sport last played. Where's the date on this? Clicked the wrong thing again. Not used to having to look at this because usually the schedule isn't this brutal. The 28th. So they'll potentially have a pretty big rest unless they have another match shoved in there, and I don't think I can see their schedule. So let me see if I can. Sundowns schedule. Senior squad. Here we go. All these functions. Amazulu us is the next match. So they're also going to be well rested. And they're going to be playing at home. So we've got 2 very difficult matches coming up next. Hopefully you'll join me for that. And until then, happy Easter, everyone. Have a good day.